Hi, good Thursday. Thank you for being here. We hope you picked up this week's edition of the Sagersville Independent. If not, you still have plenty of time to do so. Hope you give it a good read. A lot of information and content in this week's paper, which is pretty much always the case. And of course, you can always take a trip back in history with our historical page and a wonderful little reflection there, and a host of other news and information, including a write up on the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department audits, which were released at the first of the week, and a host of other things, all available on newsstands or here at the Independent office as we speak. Headlines tonight will include, I've got a couple of stories towards the latter part of the program. One good, one not. It's a feel good and not feel good situation, and I'll go out on the feel good one. I got scores just to get you caught up on for Friday Night Lights as we head into tomorrow night. A couple of brief comments and bits of news from the Johnson County Fiscal Court from earlier in the week. An auto accident involving a Sagersville City police officer earlier today, and most parents well aware of the situation, or to some degree, given the one call that was issued for the McGoffin County school system. But I'll talk with their school superintendent about exactly what they perceived as a potential threat and how they have handled it thus far in just a few moments, and a host of other news and information, and a few things before we get to that, and a continued steamy forecast that really hasn't changed, so we'll not spend a lot of time on it when towards the latter part of the program, but we will talk about the tweaks that have been made. First up, following multiple reports of losses totaling $85,000 in cash, Kentucky's Attorney General Andy Beshear today has issued a scam alert to warn of an uptick in mail scams targeting our senior citizens. While prepaid debit cards and gift cards remain popular for scammers to use to steal from Kentuckians, Beshear says that seniors in several Kentucky counties, none in eastern Kentucky, at least yet, sent some $85,000 in cash to scammers posing as a computer repair technician, a family member in jail, and a government official awarding grants. He said scammers instructed each victim to send $30, $29, and $26,000 each in cash using FedEx. Some of these scammers obviously very convincing. They also use the UPS and the United States Postal Service as well to send these amounts. Two other potential victims in Harlan and Jefferson counties reported the scammer claiming to be a family member needing help after a car wreck, but lost no money. Beshear says his office was able to work with a UPS employee in Ashland to recover one package that had $6,000 in cash in it from a victim in Greenup County. Beshear says that never provide personal or financial information to an unverified, untrusted person. Never send cash through the mail. Never do anything that you can't verify face to face or otherwise that is not a family member or otherwise. These folks, these scammers, I don't want to call them folks, can be very convincing. They have a lot of tools in their trick bag or bag of tricks, and they continue to target us in any way, form, or fashion. There was an ATV accident earlier today on 542 area in McGoffin County. A man was seriously injured and flown via helicopter. As serious as his injuries were, I am told they could have been much worse. I don't have any accompanying video or images to share with you at this time, but in speaking with McGoffin County Rescue Squad Captain Carter Connolly, he said that a McGoffin County man was riding his four-wheeler, just a standard four-wheeler, when he pulled into a driveway that he had done on numerous occasions or on some occasion before. However, there had been barbed wire stretched across that driveway since the last time he did so, and it caught him in the neck and throat area, narrowly missing vital arteries and the like. He was, however, still seriously injured and life flighted from near the scene. No update on his condition at this time. So, when school was out yesterday, just about the time school was actually letting out, or shortly thereafter, and it all started to become aware to school officials that there was a situation they had to deal with. And they were doing so still right around the same time that I was with you last night. And right around the time the show was over, they had made contact with a high school student who is no longer, at least at this time, allowed on school grounds or at any school functions after a comment that he made on social media. School Superintendent Scott Helton says that they reacted swiftly, dealt with it appropriately, issued a one call to parents to make sure everyone felt safe and that their students would be in school this morning, and the attendance rate was pretty much right at normal. But he says that it all stems from an incident that involving a student in which a post or a post on a form of social media was made. While there was no direct threat to any student or schools, it was not something that the schools could overlook.
I got notified somewhere around a little bit before 4. I'm assuming that, according to Mr. Meadows and the school administration, it happened after school. That they were notified by a student of a post on one of the social media methods of posting that students use today, of a inappropriate comment that was made. During the discussion with Mr. Meadows, I was able to see the post, and there was no direct threat to students or the schools in any way, but there was some stuff in there that was concerning enough for the school administration to contact the school resource officer. And our school resource officer happens to be a deputy sheriff, so he was able to go out and make contact with the parents of this student and the student at home. And at this time, the student has been told not to attend any school functions, or is not able to come to school at this time until the process is taken care of through the court systems. And at that time, when he reaches through the procedures that's required for an adolescent, we will get back as a school and decide his future with McGoffin County Schools. But right now, we're allowing the process to go through the courts. He will not be in school in the meantime until all of this takes place, and then from there, we will make a determination on whether he will be attending McGoffin County Schools or not.
Hilton wanted me to add that it's very important that we all remind our children each and every opportunity that we have that even though it might just be an argument with a girlfriend or a classmate or something not even involving the school system, a vague remark or threat has to be taken seriously and dealt with appropriately. And more often than not, that is the case. Sometimes, of course, there are significant and real threats that are dealt with, as we've seen, not just here, but across the country. But he wanted us to remind everyone to sit down with your students and mine and remind them that once you put it out there, it's out there. There's no takebacks. And sometimes it can result in very serious situations with dire circumstances in regards to your school career. With that said, a two-vehicle crash earlier this afternoon on Gun Creek, minor injuries as a result, involved a Sayersville City police officer on his way to check in for the afternoon shift. According to reports, those reports per the investigation, I believe being done by the Kentucky State Police, as this involved a local officer, indicate that a Sayersville police officer, Neil Adams, on his way to work this morning, was actually involved in a minor injury collision on Gun Creek. According to statements, Adams says that he was traveling in the straight stretch seen here in the Gun Creek area when he saw a small black passenger car come out of the curve coming in his direction, already on his side of the road. And he watched as the vehicle continued along that path, thinking that it would swerve at some degree. However, the vehicle did not. It kept coming and coming, and actually forced Adams off the road before the impact, some 3 feet by measurements, and then the two vehicles still collided as the driver of the small black sedan never changed path or appeared to have tried to slow down, and then continued several more feet before going over the embankment himself. Both vehicles suffered serious damage. Adams was taken to the emergency room and released for non-life-threatening injuries. We have no update on the condition of the driver or whether or not he went to the hospital for any injuries. The accident remains under investigation. Big Sandy Healthcare and Hope Family Medical Center are proud to announce the newest addition to their staff and team of over 200 dedicated employees and medical professionals. Podiatrist Dr. Cheryl Stalder Cheney has joined Big Sandy Healthcare at the Hope Family Podiatry Center in Sayersville on Beriah Boulevard, just a couple of doors up from the Lee's Famous Recipe. For anything minor or serious foot or ankle related, Dr. Stalder Cheney is now accepting new patients at Hope Family Podiatry Center in Sayersville. Just like that, we've jumped into the spring allergy season with all the buds and blooms, tree and grass pollen, mold, and all the nasal congestion, sneezing, itchy nose and eyes and throat that they cause. Don't get caught off guard. Protect yourself daily with a quick trip to Parkway Pharmacy for over-the-counter and prescription relief. And you can always log into parkwaypharmacy.com to have your prescriptions ready when you get there. At Parkway Pharmacy, Whether it's game time, family time, or any kind of fun or hungry time, it's always a perfect time for the party platter from your Sagersville Lee's famous recipe. 20 crispy buffalo wings, 20 hot and spicy wings, fried pickles, cheese sticks, jalapeno poppers, mini corn dogs, jumbo breast strips, and spicy jumbo dippers. It feeds a crowd for only $34.99, and you get $3 off if you call and order one at least a day ahead. It's party time at your Sagersville Lee's. Here's a little of what's new at Parkway Gun and Pawn. A big selection of hunting, bowie knives, some to use, some to collect, or both, starting as low as $14.99 a piece. Hey gamers, while they last, they just got in 2 PS4 Pro editions in perfect condition. And as new, still in the packaging, big flat screens at big discounts. A new selection of kitchen gear and appliances, and even a new in-the-box 30-gallon electric hot water heater. You never know what you're going to save on, but you're always going to save at Parkway Gun and Pawn. Never seen what's inside the seasonal shop, you've never seen anything like it. And if you have seen what's inside the seasonal shop, you've never seen it like this. From all the styles of pillows, dishware, bedding, and wall hangings, it's full of beautiful home decor. And there are frames for anyone and any occasion. There are neat and unique ways to design and do it yourself. There are flowers too perfect to be real. And from expecting moms to newborns, toddlers, teens, and adults, the fashions and designs and jewelry are simply endless and always changing at Fraser's Prater Drugs Seasonal Shop. A quick report on the Johnson County Fiscal Court meeting from earlier in the week. It was largely remarks and information as was presented by Johnson County Judge Executive Mark McKenzie, who reminded everyone of the recent announcements, most of which we've covered here already, about the Johnson County Fiscal Court receiving $100,000 in an energy efficiency and conservation grant. Theirs was 6 approved out of 1,000 grants applied for upgrades to the courthouse building to save on operational cost. $4 million, of course, as we also told you I did days ago, going to Johnson County and Painesville for sewer infrastructure expansion. He also spoke of some hazard mitigation projects that are ongoing. One which centers around the Church and Ceramic Drive areas. But he is encouraging anyone in Johnson County who lives in an area with repetitive flooding to come to an open meeting, a public meeting next month to get as much information as you can, because projects, even though like this one, which are so far centered around this one area, of course, could be needed elsewhere.
And so what we determined was that there was a geographic cluster in that area of repetitive damage from flooding. So we made, again, we submitted an LOI for that. And because those properties have been flooded several times, so severely that some of the owners have chosen not to return and essentially have abandoned the structures down there because they're not habitable any longer. So it has been a repetitive problem down there. So we did the letter of intent back in June of this year, and then we now are going to be proceeding on with the project. And with that, there will be we have to hold a public meeting. And we've tentatively scheduled that public meeting for October the 10th here in the courtroom at 6 p.m. So any homeowner in Johnson County whose property has had repetitive or severe flooding, they can learn more details about this acquisition program at that meeting. So if there's individuals who have had repetitive flooding issues in Johnson County, they can attend that meeting to get more information. But what we want to make everyone aware of is that the funding for this particular program will focus first on those areas in Church Drive and Ceramic Drive, because again, that it is a geographic cluster down there of properties that have been repetitively damaged.
From there, the judge updated everyone that from March of this year through September the 5th, the Solid Waste Management has collected some 2,100 bags of garbage litter strewn across or along 106 miles of Johnson County roadside. He also reminded everyone that the annual Johnson County Farm Field Day is this Saturday at the farm of Gary and April Davis on 201 near the Johnson and Lawrence County line. And without going into any detail for the audience, Judge McKenzie motioned that the county, in setting property tax rates, take the compensating rate.
It is my recommendation that we remain consistent with previous years, recent previous years anyway, that we would approve the tax rate for Johnson County on the compensating rate, as you have the information there in front of you from the Department of Local Government, and they have provided that information to us. This allows our revenue from property taxes to remain the same as what it was last year, and is what we based our budget on this year. So it would be my recommendation that we approve it at the compensating rate as defined by the Department of Local Government.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Adams. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Salyer. All in favor? Any opposed?
And during that meeting, there was no mention of what the former property tax rates were for Johnson County, as you heard, or what the compensating rate actually was. I did place a call to the judge's office earlier today. I've not had that call returned as of yet, so I have no numbers as to what the compensating rate actually is compared to what last year's rate was. We'll try to get that and have that for you at a later time. They did go on to approve bids for the Trimble Lane Bridge replacement. However, there were no bids, so they're going to have to seek a contractor themselves. They made 2 appointments to the Johnson County Library Board, former school superintendent Tom Salyer and Seth Carter, and to the Housing Authority Board, they appointed Terry Preston. I've still got a lot to talk about headline-wise. We'll get to those in a few seconds. Right now, let's all say happy birthday as we start off tonight's McGoffin Farm Bureau calendar. A birthday to start it off tonight, Nellie Spurlock. Happy birthday to you. From friends and family who wish you the best on your special day, happy birthday, Nellie Spurlock. Happy birthday to you. And from there, a reminder about the benefit show to be held this weekend, this Saturday from noon till 8 at the Literal Church. It's a benefit in honor of Vanessa Stapleton, a local woman from McGoffin County who's been transferred to a long-term care facility in Louisville. This in an effort to raise funds for her family and her care, transport for them to the hospital, and the like. If you can help, they would like to have you there. The class of 69 celebrating 50 years at their high school class reunion this Saturday at 5 at the old Sagersville High School. You know where that's at, behind the Board of Education. And a reminder about Farm Day, that's Farm Field Day next week. That is on Tuesday at the farm of Avavian and Rick Deaton starting at 6. They'll actually register at 5, eat at 5:30. The program starts at 6, brought to you by the McGoffin County Cooperative Extension Service. McGoffin County's Farm Field Day next Tuesday at 6. And that gives me one brief moment to remind you that this is how you get announcements like these on the show. And lastly this evening, a reminder about services to be held tomorrow at 1 in honor of Charlie Bailey of Southeast Licking River Road, who passed away this week, the son of Ethel Slusher Clemens and the late Buck Bailey. He was married to Linda Prater Bailey, who survives, and he's also survived by sons Charlie Scott and Matthew Justin Bailey, daughter Ramona Wagner, and stepmother Phyllis Marshall. Visitation continues this evening at the McGoffin County Funeral Home. Services again tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Appalachian Wireless has a question for you. Would you rather pay $650 or $66 for a smartphone? If you think this answer is simple, then the Appalachian Advantage plan is for you. Pay less upfront for today's hottest smartphones, and then pay just a few dollars more every month on the monthly bill. Many smartphones are $5 a month or less after you factor in the $20 discount from the Advantage plan compared to the contract offering. Better service, bigger savings. That's today's Appalachian Wireless. Payment agreement required. See store for details.
I'm Dr. Jason Zimmerman at Highlands ARH, the healthcare system of Appalachia.
I'm Bill Tinker. I've spent the past 19 years defending insurance companies in car crashes, truck crashes, and slip and falls. Are you involved in a case like that? Is the insurance company giving you the runaround about your medical bills, your benefits, or your lost wages? contact me at McFarland Tinker Law Office. With our combined experience of over 58 years, we're here ready to work for you.
From brakes, exhaust, suspension, fluid changes, to expert collision and auto body, to turning your 4x4 or diesel from mild to wild, get real auto maintenance, paint, and repair at Black Smoke Performance in Dixie of Sagersville. 349-8785. At Sagersville National Bank, they know your house is much more than your home. It's an investment, and for many of us, the biggest we'll ever make. And whether it's for needed repairs and maintenance, or a new addition or renovation to give you some more room and more equity, let Sagersville National Bank deal with all the financial work and worry. Real and real competitive, hometown, homegrown, home improvement loans at Sagersville National. Getting the best deal on the best tires with the best service has never been easier. Just log on to ConleyTire.net, check out the latest rebates, sales, and promotions, pick out the tires you want, and email, call, or come by for huge savings from the family who's been proudly serving the area for over 32 years. Conley Tire in Staffordsville, 297-2424. So right around the time that I was putting together this wonderful feel-good story, it's not local news, but I've been kind of following it along throughout the week, and today, well, I don't know if it peaked or not. I would imagine it has, but it got to the point that it needed to be shared as much as possible because it's that sentiment and emotion and all that we want to spread to everyone. I mean, whenever you have a chance to do so with good stories like this. But before we can get to that, we have these pictures. As far as I can tell, a Shante Holbrook from West Virginia captured these images. Other folks in the store also captured them, as did the security cameras as well, late last night at the South Williamson Walmart. And they are what appears to be, and most certainly is, a small child under the heavy weight of a buggy full of items, pounds of meat and canned goods and otherwise, all at the behest of whoever had custody of the child during the time of the shopping event. Take a look at these. At my last update on this particular story, which was a couple of hours ago this afternoon, police are still looking to identify this woman and get to the bottom of these pictures, which seem to, among other places, may have originated from a Shante Holbrook, a Del Barton, West Virginia resident who appears to have taken these pictures last night around 10:30 in the South Williamson Walmart. Pike County Police and other police are investigating, trying to locate the person and, most importantly, the child, which you might not notice in this picture. And in fact, this picture is actually blown up. And then when you pull into another picture a little bit closer, you see what everyone is considering so disturbing. What appears to be tens, maybe even more than 100 pounds of goods, dry goods, hamburger, canned products, pop, food, other materials, appear to be stacked on top of a small infant in a car seat or child carrier at the bottom of this buggy. Now, a great deal of questions here are unknown as to if that indeed is in fact a child and not some sort of a doll, which it appears to be a child, and the condition of that child. Also, it appears as though no one stopped the person in the store, but these pictures were captured by other shoppers as well as on surveillance video, which authorities are going over. But by all appearances, it looks as though the person with the child in their custody carelessly stacked who knows what on this small child. Right now, authorities are investigating and hoping for the best all the way around. We'll have to wait and see. Now let's go to the opposite end of the emotional scale, where I'm going to say that I've been doing this show over 20 years. In all of those 20 years, in all my life, I'm getting ready to say something that I thought I would never, ever say. I think I want a University of Tennessee t-shirt. And if you've heard of the story or seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't heard the latest developments today with a little Florida boy who is the most diehard of volunteer fans, you have to hear this. It's worth hearing and sharing and never forgetting. You know, even on the best of days, stories like these make our world go around. And certainly when you might be down in the muck and over other headlines or things going on in your area or around the world, stories like these are even that much more precious and ones that we should hold near and dear to our hearts and be encouraged and motivated from. If you haven't heard this story, You are going to now, and you will hear about it for some time to come. It all comes after a little Florida student, a young boy, whose team was the University of Tennessee, and the Volunteers, no ifs, ands, or buts. And College Colors Day was coming up at his elementary school, but he didn't own a Vol t-shirt, so he figured out how to fix that himself. His teacher at Altamont Elementary in Altamonte Springs in Florida, Laura Snyder, says that the boy came in thrilled to show off his UT University logo shirt that he had fashioned out of a piece of paper pinned to an orange shirt. He was thrilled to show it off to his teacher and his class, but by lunchtime, some other students sitting at a table next to his, well, ridiculed him, bullied him, in fact, and it got to the point that he was devastated and returned home that day without the UT on the front of his shirt and told the whole story to his mom. Well, the teacher was brokenhearted, perhaps just as much as the little boy and the mother, and by Thursday, she had posted on Facebook about the entire ordeal. And it has just absolutely, viral is the common word, but viral doesn't even come close to representing what has happened with this. The University of Tennessee heard about this. Vols fans gathered up some 35, 40 pounds of volunteer gear from the school and shipped it overnight to this young boy. Hats, jerseys, tees, and more. And you can imagine he was thrilled. And then the family learns that, well, the t-shirt was such a hit that the university is printing it. So far, over 50,000 pre-orders have come in, to the degree that it shut down the website for the school until they could get it back up and running to handle the volume. And orders are still pouring in. And a portion of all the proceeds from every shirt will go to an anti-bullying foundation. And today, we hear this, that little Vol fan who was bullied for making his own shirt is going to the University of Tennessee if he so desires, guaranteed. The school sending a message to him today saying that in recognition of the fourth graders' volunteer spirit, the university has extended an offer of admission for him to join the class of 2032. In addition, he has been awarded a 4-year scholarship covering his tuition and fees beginning in the fall of 28, should he decide to attend the University of Tennessee and meet the admission requirements. This young man has a 4-year ride. And we all have a message to send to bullies, and hopefully the bullies are listening. Now, real quickly, with tomorrow night's Friday Night Lights, who's home, who's on the road, and who's won and lost thus far, 2 or 3 games into the football season for our area teams. Starting with Montgomery County and the Hornets and Coach Chris Gamble, the Hornets are 3 games into 10, and they've dropped the last 2 after coming out strong 51-22 versus Knott County Central at home in the season opener. They lost to Sheldon Clark on the road 6-22, and then last week here at home losing to Breathitt County 6-55. The Hornets are on the road for 3 more weeks, counting tomorrow night, looking for their second win of the season. They're traveling to Betsy Lane tomorrow night, the 27th. They'll be at Belfry. October the 3rd, they'll be at Lawrence County. It's October the 11th that they'll be back here at home, and they'll be here for 2 weeks in a row, Floyd Central and Pike Central, respectively. So the Hornets right now 1-2 on the season and looking to make up some ground at the cost of Betsy Lane tomorrow night on the road. As for Johnson Central coach Matney and his Eagles, they're 2 games into 10. The first to win 49-12 over Lafayette. And on August the 30th, they had a 28-13 win over Capital West Virginia. They had an off week last Friday, which puts them at South Charleston, West Virginia, tomorrow night, kickoff set for 7:30. The boys from Central 2-0 on the season, looking to make another run at the end of the season. We'll see how it goes for the Eagles. And for Paintsville and the Tigers, they're 3 games into the season. 2 wins out of the gate, 48-17 at Lawrence County, 19-14 at Georgetown. And last Friday night, they hosted Pikeville and got their first loss, 8-9 the final score. They're also at home again tomorrow night, hosting East Jessamine. Kickoff right now set for 8 o'clock. Now, since there's not a whole lot to change the forecast, I'm just going to give you a quick summary, and We'll all get out of here for the evening, so to speak. Mostly clear tonight and 67, mostly sunny. Another hot one again tomorrow. Summer's still in town. 93 again expected for your Friday. We have a 20% chance of some showers and storms tomorrow night and a 20% chance throughout much of your Saturday, but we're still going to see mostly sunny and upper 80s for the first half of your weekend with that shower chance. Upper 80s, sunny and dry for the latter half of your weekend. And we'll go into your weather forecast in more detail and wrap up the week's worth of programming when I see you back here next time. For now, thank you for watching.